Congratulations. If you're watching this video, it means you have successfully purchased our budget to build financial bundle. You have taken the first step towards taking charge of your finances and making the right financial decisions. This budget tracker is simple to understand and easy to use. I'm going to walk us through how to use this tracker. Some key points to note. This budget tracker has been prepared to cater for each month of the year. As you can see in these tabs below, January up to December. Also, there is an annual overview. So at the end of the year, there is this tab called annual overview that shows you your expenses, your savings and investment for the entire year. So it shows you how you spent your money for the entire 1 year. Secondly, you are not expected to edit any cell in this tracker aside this cell D and cell E. So you're only expected to enter the amount here, right? You're only expected to enter the amount here. So you can see this tracker makes allowance for 3 sources of income, and you have different items here. So anyone that does not apply to you, just put a 0. So I'm going to do a demo budget using the month of January. So let's assume that my income is, I earn $10,000 as my income. This is my planned income. So this column, when you say planned amount, the planned amount means the amount that you are expecting to earn or expecting to spend. And then this column here, actual amount, means the actual amount you finally had to earn or the actual amount you finally had to spend. So here I have my planned income, which is my salary, is $10,000, for instance, and the actual amount I received for that month is $10,000. Secondly, I have a side income, I have a side business that I'm expecting an income of $5,000. However, the actual amount I earn from that side income is $2,000. So you see, then in my case, I do not have a third income, so this remains 0 and this remains 0. You see? So you put it 0. Now, fixed expenses. What are fixed expenses? Fixed expenses are expenses you make every month that the amounts do not change, right? And in this tracker, we made allowance for you that once you enter the amount here, it replicates here. So your rent, I want to believe that the rent you pay every month, the amount is the same every month, so it does not change. So let's assume that your rent is, say, $3,000. That is your rent every month. And then utilities like electricity, water bill, and the likes, internet services, you pay $1,000, right? So you see that every time I enter an amount here, it automatically populates here, right? So you don't have to touch this, right? Then transportation, you spend maybe 1,000 for transportation as well. That is constant for the month. And then here, debt repayment. So let's say you have a credit card debt or you have a student loan that you're paying, and you pay every month, you pay a specific amount, and let's say every month you're having to pay 2,000, right? And then you have insurance and you pay insurance 500. So currently our total income you've earned for this month is $12,000, and for your fixed expenses you've spent already, the actual expenses you're here you have 3, 4, 5, 7, so 7,500, right? So 7,500, that means I have, how much do I have left to meet my other expenses as well as plan for my savings? So that means For the month, I have $4,500 left. So out of $4,500, for me, I like to take out my investments first, right? You can choose to enter the amount you spend for groceries, right? So let's assume out of 4,500, you spend 1,000 on groceries. You expected to spend 1,000 on groceries, or you plan to spend 1,000 on groceries, but you ended up spending maybe the exact 1,000, or you spent, yeah, so you spent 1,000, right? And then dining out, you made plans to dine out with your friends, you budgeted $200, and then you ended up spending, say, $150, right? And then entertainment, let's say for entertainment, you want to hang out concert tickets or things like that. You budgeted $300, and then you spent exactly $300, right? And then shopping, you have to do personal shopping, buy some nice t-shirt, a nice shoe, bag, for instance. So 500. You plan to spend 500 and you spend 400, right? And then subscriptions, monthly subscriptions, let's say the planned amount is 200 and you spent 100 because you decided, you know what, I don't have to pay subscription for both Netflix and Prime. I'm going to pay for only Netflix this month. So now we have that, right? So far out of your expenses, so far you have spent a total of, okay, so you have spent a total of $9,450 this month so far. So how much do you have left for investment? So your income is 12,000, remember, and you have spent a total of 9,450. So you have 2,550 left. So now, for our savings and investments, we advise that you make room for an emergency fund. So let's say you put aside every month you put aside, say, $500 for emergency fund. That's the plan, and you actually save the $500. Then for long-term savings, so you're saving long-term, right? So long-term savings, for instance, you say, you know what, I think I want to do another $500 because it's important. In the journey of investment, for most people, you have to first build your savings so you have money to invest, right? So it's important to have savings as well. It's important to have cash. And it's also advisable that while you're investing, you have cash that you can use to meet your immediate need. That is, after your expenses, you want to have a little money that in case something happens and you need to take a taxi, you have to run to somewhere, you need to, probably get to the pharmacy to pick up a drug. You need to have cash at hand. So it is advisable to have cash at hand, even while planning towards your investment. Now, every month you say, oh, I think every month I'm going to save for my investments. That is buying stocks, buying bond, investing in ETFs. I'm going to do $500 every month. You plan that and you actually do $500 every month, right? And then for retirement funds, so maybe this is money you put maybe into your pension account, and every month you're doing $500 for your pension account, right? So you plan you're doing $500 for your pension account. So at every point, I have to check how much is my expenses, right? So now your income is 12,000, right? And expenses so far is 11,450. You can see the sum here, 11,450, right? So what does that mean? I have an extra 50, if I'm not mistaken, $550 that I haven't spent. So I can say, okay, since I have an extra $550, oh, I remember I was going to buy a gift for a friend. So I spend $50 to buy a gift for a friend. And then there is this professional certification that you want to take. So let's say you have a professional certification you're saving towards, then you can, that is miscellaneous, right? So you can say, okay, I'm going to save $500 towards that and that. So if you check it, your emphasis is on the actual amount you received and the actual amount you spent. This is what you had planned before you even received your income, before you started making expenses. You see here, this this column here, right? This column D. This is what you had planned to receive, and now this is the actual money you received and the actual money you spent. So that is what you should work with, right? So now this is what it tells us. Now look at this breakdown. This breakdown tells us that your total income that you actually receive is 12,000, right? And the fixed expenses you made is 7,500. Then the variable expenses, these are expenses that the amount changes every month depending on, if you have to make that expense that month or not. And that is 1,950. And now for your investment, you saved only $2,000 for investment, right? Now, this is what it tells us. Under the investment, it says that you only put out, you only save 16.7% of what you earned for investment. Now, there is a rule of thumb. It is advised or suggested that you save at least 20% of your income every month for investment. Now, I have this here that I have put for you to guide you, to let you know when you're investing as you should and when you are not. So, anytime here, you see, anytime your total savings and investment is below 20%, it shows you here below investment target. When it is up 20, maybe exactly 20%, it tells you that you have the actual investment target. And when it is above 20%, it tells you above investment target. So you should keep your eyes on this section, right? You should keep your eyes on this section. That way, it will help you know if you are taking the right steps, if you are meeting your investment target goals that you set for yourself for that month. So the target is 20% of the actual income you earn should go into investment, right? And this tracker helps you keep track of that. So you know, okay, am I investing up to 20% of my income or not, right? Now, this is it. So this pie chart also shows you how you've spent your money, right? It shows you how you spent your money. So it tells you that bulk of your money that you have earned goes to your fixed expenses, which is your rent, your utility, your transportation, debt repayment, insurance, and the like, right? So this just gives you a breakdown of how you have spent your money for that month. And this is exactly what you should do for the remaining month of the year. So if you go to February, so this is for January. If you go to February, it's the same thing. If you go to March, it's the same thing, all the way to December. And then at the end of the year, you click on this tab, which is annual overview, and it shows you how much you planned to earn for the entire year and how much you actually earn. And then it comes here, it shows you how much you have put into your investments for the entire year. So you know if at the end of the year, if you actually met the target of saving 20% of your income for the entire year into investment, right? So one thing I want to let us to know is that that's at the beginning you might not be meeting the target because having to plan your finances for some people takes quite some time, right? But you have this tracker to guide you, so you see the places where you are spending more than you should and you need to cut down on the expenses, or maybe you need to earn more income. That this tracker would also show you that. So when you have a clear view of what you're earning, what you're spending, then you are able to know and plan how to invest. So I hope this explanation is sufficient and it will guide you on how to use this tracker, right? And there's also going to be a video link on my YouTube page on how to use this tracker, I will be putting the link here. So in case you need to watch the video over and over again to understand how to use the tracker, please feel free to do so. And also, after going through your tracker, if you need further guidance on how to plan your finances, so let's say now you have successfully saved the right amount of money for your investment, but you don't know how to invest, where to invest, you should please go through the beginner's guide to investing, which is also part of this bundle. And also, you can feel free to book a free 15 minutes financial clarity call. You will find the link wherever you got this bundle from, and book a meeting and let's discuss. Let's start the journey towards building wealth for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for patronizing RDS Consulting. Lest I forget, this budget template is an intellectual property of RDS Consulting. It is illegal to share this document with anyone who has not purchased this. Thank you so much and have a wonderful month and a wonderful year. Plan smart, build wealth, and live free. Thank you.